Hi, Mr. Schumacher. This is our group, and we are doing our project on the current event of the issue with social caste and how it affects healthcare. And it's tied to the social caste that we saw when studying India. So, the first question is, how are the current event and the historical event similar, and what do they have in common? So, I said that they are similar because of the way that the social caste is formed. So obviously, people who are on the bottom have less access to things, and they were called the untouchables in India. Whereas now they're not as poorly looked upon like the untouchables, but people still definitely profile them. And now people who are lower in the social caste are facing the issue with coronavirus, and they have a lack of access to healthcare. So if they do get sick, from COVID-19, then numbers will not be able to get tracked, and also they will not be able to get better, resulting in more deaths and illness. Um, and in common, there's the ongoing issue of systematic racism and other elements that contribute to the idea that people of color don't get the same treatment. Because in ancient India, people who were light skinned were considered to be higher up on the social class than people who had darker skin, and we still see that a lot today. So yeah, for number two, Ishan.
Okay, so for number two, our historical event and our current event were different because if we look at it, obviously there's a big time difference from what took place in India and what's taking place today. Also, in India, about social classes and caste system, it was basically impossible. You couldn't change what caste you were in. You were stuck where you were. You couldn't move up. However, in America, there is still kind of a caste system, but you can move up or down. However, it's pretty hard to. Also, tying back into what Alex said about healthcare, um, like healthcare wasn't really huge in India, but now with COVID-19, um, now it kind of is. So this kind of shows us that things haven't really changed with castes, but the issues that like happen with caste system haven't really changed. Also, if we look back a long time ago, we could see that there was a system that placed people in different levels based on their wealth and status, which is basically what we have today. And people higher up had better access to healthcare, which is kind of a big thing right now. Yeah.
Okay, so for number three, the question was, which seems more pronounced or important about your comparison, and do I find more change or continuity over time? So I said that I think that there's more continuity than there is change because between like both castes, because although like our world has become more modern, it's still equality still tends to be like a large issue. And the caste system, I don't think has changed at all. I think that people are still judged because of their skin color or and or the amount that they have, and it still remains the same. And because of all the equality issues, violence, especially recently, has been like a major issue. Um, I also believe that like aversive racism is also like an issue. Aversive racism is healthcare kind of racism when they don't give all the same healthcare opportunities to each family. And in conclusion, I believe that our two events are more similar than they are different because the only major difference is definitely like the times and what was going on in India.
Number four is to propose solutions to the issue and how we can help. And I think that we can look at actually other countries to see how to fix this issue, because in places like the UK, they have universal health care, which means that everyone who is a citizen there has access to health care, which makes it a lot easier to get numbers on sickness, and it makes it a lot better for people who are poor, so if they get sick, and especially with the pandemic, if they get COVID-19, they can recover from it, and that will be a smaller death toll. And for our impact, it's obviously really hard for us to make an impact in something as big as this because this is a big controversial issue that has been going on for many years and we're just teenagers. But there's something called Prop 22, and it basically means that people who drive for companies such as Uber, if they log enough hours to be considered full time, then they're able to get access to healthcare because of Uber. So if Prop 22 passes, then the people who drive for Uber and Lyft will have access to healthcare, and that's a big deal because if someone doesn't have access to healthcare and they have a car, then they can become an Uber driver and they can get healthcare, which is a really big important deal.
So for number 5, we talked about like why does this matter and has there been any progress? And I think that this definitely does matter because everyone deserves the right to have equal access to all like to types of healthcare and everything. And I think that especially like right now currently during this pandemic, it's everyone deserves to have like an opportunity for that. And I think that there has been like some progress made. We are slowly moving up. And I think that um, still like thousands of Americans still kind of suffer from the lack of accessibility and lack of like healthcare like in all. So I think that we are still moving up, but there are still major issues that we have.
Thank you.